Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem, amma ba'd. We are at the end of the chapter that we discussed for last 2 or 3 weeks, which is the theory of contract. So far we discussed two pillars of contract, and now we are going to the third. The first one was the expression of the contract. The second one was the parties of the contract. So the first one was how, the second one was who. All right, number three was what. So the object or the subject matter of the contract. So we are going to talk about the commodity, the product, the thing that we are going to deal with, right? So it could be a stuff, it could be a thing, that physical thing, it could be a digital thing, or it could be a service. So basically goods and services. So Muslim juries has had laid down 4 conditions for it. So when you talk about the subject matter, make sure that there are 4 conditions. So these 4 conditions we are going to talk about one by one. The first condition is the subject matter must exist. You cannot sell something which is not yet to be produced or is not yet to be exist, unless there are some exceptional cases. We will talk about the exceptional cases, but this is the basic principle. Is actually you cannot sell something that it is not available. Islamic law requires the subject matter must be in existence at the time when an aqd is concluded. The time that is concluded, it has to be there. Otherwise, the aqd is void. It is batil, even if the subject matter would exist in the future. The reason why we are doing this, because we want to avoid the possibility of gharar. Gharar is something like ambiguity, some kind of cheating should not happen. That's why we want to do some exchange. When we do exchange, we make sure that the stuff, the product is there. It is somewhere, even if it is not in your hand, but it is somewhere. Meaning to say, it is not, it is already been existing. If it is not existing, it cannot be used for the exchange, used for the business or the trade. So that is the wisdom of the behind this prohibition, is the possibility of a gharar or a risk that is associated with the sale of the subject which is not existence. Therefore, the sale of the animal fetus yet to be born while it is still in the mother's womb is void if the mother is not part of the sale. All right. So if the mother is a part of the sale, for example, the cow or the goat that you are selling, if the mother together with the womb, together with the fetus inside, if you want to sell it, is fine. But you cannot sell the fetus inside the womb, because we don't know yet whether the fetus will born alive or not. So there is a probability of, that fetus might not exist in the future. So you cannot do the trading. So this is just an example of fetus, because people used to sell this. This is what a very big commodity, the cattle business those days. So today it could be anything. For example, like you did not produce something, but actually you want to sell something. You don't have something in your hand, but you are thinking that doing some kind of you want to make sure that you have the product. With the reality is you don't have it. So the moment that they are ordering you, and then you want to go and then get it, so this is something that you are selling something, you don't have it. But there are some exceptions made. See, the exception always comes when there is a necessity, right? It doesn't mean that it is not possible all the time. Sometimes it is possible that you can actually book a product before it comes. You can order something before it become. You can actually ask the developer to develop something for you before it come to existence. So this is what we call exceptions given to by al-salam. So this by al-salam is actually forwarding contract. If it is in any kind of goods, it comes to salam. If it is any kind of services or if any kind of manufacture developing, then it is called by al-istisna, right? So this by al-salam, by al-istisna, yes, of course, you will be learning this inshallah fiqh too. You will be learning in detail. Here you just need to know that these are the exceptions are given. For example, you want to order mango for in the month of July, so you booked your order. You know that the mango used to come like June, May, June, July. So you wanted to buy like 100 mangoes in July, which means that right now it is still, it is not yet the fruit. It is still young, but it has to be there for some time. Then it becomes fruit. So that this is what we call by a salam. This is possible. That's because you already see the possibility that actually this person can bring from the tree. So this is what we call by as-salam, is forwarding contract. Then you have by al-istisna, which means that you cannot simply wait until the developer finish building for you, because there's a possibility that you might not say you don't want to buy that building, and then the developer will have problem with that because he already made it. So that's why today people are actually booking their properties, and then they are actually they are actually asked to book their properties. Then the developers will build for you, even if you want to build your own house. You have the land, and then you tell the developer, the one who designed, the designer, the builder, you tell them, okay, I'll pay you this amount, you build the house for me. And you cannot say that, okay, you build the house first and then I will pay you, because he cannot take the risk, because he has to put his own money. So now you will make him do it, so you will pay first. He cannot put the money unless we willing to pay, so it need a confirmation. So how will we will have to pay the deposit as a promise that we will buy the house. Ijara, contract of hire based of necessity and customs. The ijara also the same thing, you pay in first. For example, we pay the deposit. Similarly, we do, for example, when you go to house, they will ask you to pay at least 2 plus 1 or 1 plus 1, which means that you have to pay a deposit for 2 months before you enroll, before you go to that house. So that additional early payment is like your deposit, also comes in the contract of hire, right? So when you are hiring the house, it is called ijara. So these are the things based on the necessity and the customs. It is acceptable. Other than that, in normal circumstances, you cannot sell something that you don't have. All right, this is what you need
So,
to know. Yes, Leon.
sorry to cut you off. So, actually, I'm quite confused. So, in what condition actually we can call it like a exception? Because normally, just now, sir always say that you must have that thing, and then you just can do a contract with other people, right? I have to make sure that I really have this thing, so that later on I can sell to you and I will get the money from you. Not like say like I get the money from you, but actually I don't have that thing, which is called a gara. So just now sir already mentioned that there's one exception, which is like we give the deposit first. So regarding what subject that we buy, we can use this concept of the exception.
Okay, this exception is actually what usually we call forwarding contract. This is actually happening in the market. Usually it happens. There are certain commodities. So we based on the customs and the market. It is we are talking we are here talking about the mainstream business, mainstream market. There are certain market you have to pay first. right? You have to book your slot. That's because that is how people do, and that is how it's been managed to be doing. Because if we didn't do that, and then there is a probability that actually one of the parties will get risk or will get lost. So whatever is actually publicly accustomed, I mean, according to the custom of the market, you actually call it as a forward contract, you can go for it. That's what I said. Anything that we call it al-salam, which is in English, we call it forwarding contract. So there are so many forwarding contract today in the market, they are doing it. So those are the contracts are allowed, right?
So,
Mm.
however, if is it possible like if I buy something, I already give the deposit, but actually the seller will get after he get my money and he is do not go away.
Yes, if that is the
Like
case,
like
then
she,
it becomes legal matter. Then you need to approach to the legal holders. For example, the police, the judge, the government. Yeah, if that's why if there is a forwarding contract, meaning there is always an invoice, there is always a ledger, there is always a registration for this kind of business, right? You won't pay your booking, you won't pay your money without a proper document. This is what exactly we talk about. This is not, we are talking like, you just trust someone and you do. Here we talk about every single thing must be documented. The Quran itself says, the biggest verse in Quran is actually talk about the recording of your debt. When you are actually dealing with the transactions, when you're dealing with the contract, make sure that you write it down, and you make sure that you have the proper documentation recording. So if you have it, definitely, if he run away, if he did not follow back to you, then we have the legal system. We have to approach to the police or the consumer court, or there are so many other ways of looking back. Maybe they will find out and then they will revoke his license. These are the things are there. So when there is a market, there is always mechanism. We can follow the mechanism. The Sharia is not against of those market system, those market procedures. Sharia is not against of. That's why anything you call forwarding contract, you can go with it. If the customs made you do it, you can go for it. For example, today people are waiting for the car, right? You know that even if you want to buy a Proton, the new one, you have to wait 6 months. So many cars today, like Toyota or Honda, even Mitsubishi. If you have to buy a car today, you have to wait for 6 months. So which means that at least you have to pay a deposit, and then you have to wait, so that when your time comes, and then there is a number for you, and then they will supply the car to you. So now this is the this is what we call custom, and this is what we call the market. Sharia is not against of this market. So it goes with this, because we call this al-istisna, contract of manufacture. Anything that they have to manufacture, there is a cost and you need to book it. Otherwise, that entire contract, I mean the entire manufacture will be at risk. Then they have to find another buyer if you did not come up. If you have already paid the deposit, at least you will come back. If you didn't pay the deposit, then they have to wait for another buyer, and then that is a kind of risk for them. So that's why they go with this contract of manufacture. Always bring a condition to pay as a deposit. All right. So the
so
similar things goes to ijara. Similar thing goes to all those contract based on hire. The number two is actually the subject matter. That is the first one, must exist. Number two, can be delivered. Something that can be delivered. You cannot do something that cannot be delivered. Otherwise, the aqad is void. For example, you cannot sell something that you cannot hunt. You cannot sell something that you cannot, acquire. For example, this selling a bird on the sky, or the fish in the sea, a runaway horse. These are the things we have to be careful when we do. When we are buying something, we need to make sure that it is something is deliverable. Right? If you cannot deliverable, better you don't buy those things. That's why subject matter must be delivered. Number 3, this is also very important, should be precisely determined, meaning what exactly you are going to buy. Right? Sometimes it looks like you are buying something, but you don't know the variation. So today, if I have to give you a perfect example, if you are buying an iPhone, you must know what variant you are buying. There are so many variant, there are so many model, there are so many specification of that model, right? So which means that you need to know the money that you are paying. You must precisely choose the variant. Now, for example, if you do any e-commerce, any online sale, there is always before you add to cart, you need to precise what kind of variant you want, the specific model that you want. This is very important. That's why the subject matter should be precisely determined. Islamic law requires that subject matter must be precisely determined and known to the contract parties. Sufficient knowledge about the subject matter is necessary to avoid future disputes. So this is also something, in fact, according to Imam Al-Ghazali, the learning the knowledge of the market is actually wajib. They said that it is compulsory for you learning the knowledge of the market. You don't deal with something that you don't know. If not, you ask the expert. That's why we have expertise in certain field. Sharia is actually want you to approach expert and then get their idea, and then you start buying something. Even for example, you want to go and buy a laptop. Today you want to buy a laptop. There are so many variants of the laptop. It will confuse you when you go and you want to buy something. It is not that easy. You want to buy a laptop. You cannot determine within one day. You have to search. You have to go for the reviews. You have to see how people are talking about this product. Then after a few times, then you need to shortlist. Then you need to point out which one you want according to your budget, according to your requirement, according to the workload that you have. So now there are so many choices. Today it's not that easy. Full of choices. Anything that you want to buy, whether it is you want to buy a earphone also, I tell you, full of choices. Is very difficult to choose which one is the best. So today, even if you go, you started looking for the online sale. I know online shopping. Many people, many of us, we are doing every single day. We are doing it, and then you open, type something, and then you will see millions and millions of it. So then we go one by one. We see according to the review, especially the reviews are helping. That's why it is also better when you buy something, you give the honest review so that other people will benefit from your review. So now we go through the review, we see how it is stuff, because sometimes the picture they post in the website, not necessarily the original picture. The picture that they post it must be illustrated picture, what we call it. It looks like illustrator, meaning there is so many Photoshop has been done. So the real picture of the product you will see only in the review column. You go to the review, you will find the real picture of the product. So these are the sufficient knowledge you need to know before you buy something, right? Especially for instance, the genus, the species, the quality and quantity should be clearly described. So whenever you buy, make sure that you see the picture and then you go down and you look into the description and you see one by one what are the description they said. Let's say you are buying a phone, make sure that how many RAM they said, what is the size of the phone, the screen, and then what is the processor speed, what is the storage, most importantly the storage, and then what exactly what is the megapixel of front camera and back camera. These are the things people usually look into it, right? So this is what we call sufficient knowledge about the subject is necessary to avoid future disputes. So you need to look for all these genus, species, quality, quantity. If the seller describes goods to be sold as being of certain quality and the goods upon inspection proves to be inferior quality, or value, the law allows the purchaser an option whether to cancel the sale under the option of misrepresentation or to accept the goods. This is what we call Sharia has the exercise of khiyar, and this khiyar we call it option, right? Which means that we are having a separate chapter where we are going to talk about options, how many types of options, how can you practice options. So options means what? You actually expected a quality something, the seller gave you a description of a very good quality, but when you receive a product, it is not that much. It didn't go to that product, it didn't go to that quality. Yeah, the representation was not good. So it became inferior. It is not the superior quality, it became the inferior quality. So now what you do, you want to keep your product or you want to return, there is an option for you to return, right? Today also we have it. If even sometimes we got something, the product is not as it was described, then there is an option. You know, those people are selling online, those are the big companies are selling online, they have the options for you to return. They only they are there. You know, they will not release the money to the seller until you approve. See, this is the beauty of, you know, selling and buying today. I could be a seller, I can sell anything to you, but when I'm using a certain certain platform, like for example today, whatever is it, like Amazon or eBay or, you know, Lazada or Shopee, whatever it is, you know, those big companies will hold the money until I approve. I said okay. So there's a grace period. After you receive the product, you go back to your platform and then you click button, you agreed, you delivered, you received the order, and then there you can actually have options to return, or you have complaint to talk about every single thing. Now it's very easy. They are practicing what we are teaching here. All right, so this is all available. So the subject matter must be precisely determined. Number four, this is what according to the Muslim practice, the subject matter must be legal. Yeah, make sure that it has a commercial value. Islamic law requires that the subject matter must be a commercial value, otherwise the aqd is void. For example, the sale of wine, blood, pork is void, is batil, even if these articles are value to others or according to the civil law. Maybe the country's civil law may say that it has a value, but for Muslim, since Allah prohibited these things, because Sharia is already said these are the things are haram to consume, means it is not only haram to consume, it is also haram to trade. Whatever is haram to consume, it is also haram to trade. I cannot say that I don't drink alcohol, but I can sell alcohol. No, sorry, prohibited. Haram to sell alcohol, as it is a haram to consume alcohol. Similarly, go to blood and also pork. You know, these are the things will be avoided. Because why? Because when Sharia said haram, those products already lost their exchange value. There is no value. That's why earlier we talked about all this. These things will come under what? Under non-valuable properties. Right? Remember we talked about non-valuable properties. Similarly, the sale of item that cannot be secured or possessed, something that you cannot secure, you cannot acquire, you cannot keep it in your hand, like for example, fish in the sea, bird in the air, but once possessed, it can become the subject matter of transaction. That's why you cannot sell something, for example, okay, tomorrow, whatever I go on fishing, I will sell it to you for $100. I'm going to fishing tomorrow, I'm going to the ocean tomorrow, so whatever my boat is carrying, I will sell it to you for $100. You cannot say that because you haven't possessed anything. So that's why, even in fact, not only that, even Sharia says you don't do trading while you are in the ocean, because we don't know whether, because the sea is there, the ocean, the fish is there. There's a possibility that the sea, anything may happen, and then the fish might go back to ocean. Right? It is possible. It has been there. I mean, it's been done before so many times. You know, sometimes it is there in your boat, and then it escapes, and then it goes back to. That's why you cannot do the selling while you are in the ocean. You have to do it when you come to shore. Make sure that you come back to the shore, you come back to the land, and then you start your dealing. Okay. So
Yeah.
yes, Ramadan. Go ahead.
Uh, for the wine, blood, and pork, how about for our non-Muslim brothers and sisters?
For them, yeah, that's what, this is what we call, even though for our non-Muslims brother and sister, it is something value according to their rule, it is a value to them, but it is not value for us. That's the reason why we cannot sell this thing to them. Even though we are selling to the non-Muslims, we cannot do that. We are not allowed to sell these items even to the non-Muslims. Non-Muslims can sell each other. They can sell to the other non-Muslims, right? This is the reason why, in fact, in the market, this is what should be maintained. When there is a dead chicken, it should not be sold to any Muslims. It should, because Muslims cannot be selling, cannot be buying the chickens. Sometimes, when you have the container of chicken, some of them will be dead because of some other reason. When they have a container of 1,000 chickens coming to the market, on the way there is a possibility some of them definitely will die. So whatever whatever is alive, you are able to do the trading. But if it is dead, because when a chicken is dead before you slaughter, it is actually dead carrion. We call it al-maita, al-maitatun. This is a carrion which is actually haram for selling and buying, right? So that's why these product, a Muslim personally, he cannot sell to. Of course, he cannot sell to the Muslims. At the same time, he also cannot sell to the non-Muslims. Yeah. Okay, Ramadan.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So now let me just start the next one.
Sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, actually, I want to ask is, so when will sir tell us what we need to do regarding our individual assignment?
Yes, that's what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay then. So as you can see, can you see the slides now? Slide now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay. So this is the next chapter that actually we are supposed to learn. In this next chapter, I'm going to tell you what is actually needed for, because there is only a small portion that you need to learn from this chapter in order to do your assessment. Yeah. So this is a new chapter we are going. This is called the purpose and effect of a contract. In fact, this is one of my favorite chapter as well. This is what is purpose and effect. These are the topics that we are going to cover in this purpose and effect, expression and hidden, intention, fictitious contract. You have duress, mistake, fraud, deception. Inshallah, we will be covering this after the break. But now I'm going to just give you the understanding of what is purpose, what is effect. So you understood the three pillars of the contract, right? So now there are, if any contract has three pillars, undoubtedly, without any doubt, the contract is valid. But at the same time, if three pillars are being completed, but if the certain purpose and effect is not there, then then there is no, if there is no real purpose is being achieved through a certain contract, then there is no use of the contract. So here we are going to talk about the additional thing that you are supposed to learn other than the three pillars. So three pillars are compulsory. Without three pillars, there is no doubt that without these three pillars, the business cannot be done, the trade cannot be concluded. So this is what we call the, for each and every contract, for each and every single transaction, you need to look that is there a certain purpose and effect or not. If there is a certain purpose, is it achieved? If there is a certain effect, is it achieved through the trading or not, through the contracting or not? Okay. Islamic law of transaction, each contract has certain purpose and effect. The purpose of a contract refers to the main purpose for which people use that contract. The effect of a contract refers to its consequences or results and the rights and liabilities of the parties. So now you understood somehow the purpose means the maqasid. Why actually people do that contract? Why? What purpose they are doing the contract? The effect means what happened after you finish the contract. You came and you sell something, someone bought something from you, and then they left the place. Then what happened? What's happening after the contract? The consequences or the result, it is called effect. For example, if someone is actually doing a contract, the purpose of contract, any transaction, any contract, is actually the purpose is to exchange their counter values. So remember, when I'm selling my phone to you, my counter value is I'm selling the phone to you, something that valuable. At the same time, what are you going to do? Because I'm selling the phone to you, what you will do? You will pass the 1,000 ringgit to me. So I'm giving you my phone, which has something value, which you think that this is something is a value. That's why you are coming here to exchange. At the same time, I want your 1,000 ringgit because I need that 1,000 ringgit, and I think there is a value. According to my eye, there is a value in that 1,000 ringgit. So now what's happening exactly? You are giving me 1,000, I'm giving you my phone. So we are exchanging our counter values. Do you understand? The counter values means I have a phone, you have the money. So I need your money and you need my phone. So this is what we call exchanging the counter values. And then when we are doing it with mutual consent, because I'm happy with your 1,000 ringgit. The same way you are also going to be happy with my with my phone. So with mutual consent. This is what we call purpose. The purpose of any contract is actually exchanging their counter values. Okay, overall speaking. Okay, overall speaking, this is what for any contract. But later we will talk about one by one. All right. So now overall speaking, and then okay, and then the effect is actually what? The effect is actually what's happening after we deal the exchange, the counter value. What's happening actually? 2 minutes ago, I was the owner of the phone. And after this exchange, what happens now is actually you became the owner of the phone. The moment that you gave me the 1,000 ringgit, before that 1,000 ringgit, you were holding the 1,000 ringgit and you were the owner for 1,000 ringgit. And suddenly when you gave it to me, I became the owner of the 1,000 ringgit in my pocket. And then you became the owner of that particular phone where I was holding it. So now the effect. So the purpose is actually we want to exchange our counter value. The effect is actually transferring the ownership. All right. So for example, the purpose behind a contract of sale is to enable the parties to exchange their counter values with mutual consent, while its effect is the transfer of ownership from the seller to the buyer in return for a consideration or compensation. Consideration or compensation. This is what we call effect. The purpose of a lease. Now let us go one by one. Like I told you now, I told you like overall. Now let's go one by one. The purpose of a lease contract is to allow the tenant to use the leased asset. While it is the purpose of the lease contract is to allow the tenant to use the leased asset, while its effect is to transfer the ownership over usifruct to the tenant with consideration. So when it comes to ijara, this is the purpose of ijara. Purpose of ijara is, let's say I have the house and you want to be in my house. So the purpose is I have to allow the tenant to use the leased asset. But the effect, what happened that the moment you pay me the money, then you become the owner of the usifruct. Right? Remember, we talked about owner of the usifruct, owner of the property. So the moment you pay me the rental, you become the owner of the usifruct. So that is what the effect is happening. Similarly, the purpose of kafala. There is a contract called kafara, which we talked about, the guarantee, providing a guarantee, right? This guarantee is something that, you know, when someone is that someone is actually, you know, want to get some loan from the bank, and someone has to come and give the guarantee. You know, when you're asking for the loan, the bank will ask, do you have the guarantor? If you have the guarantor, bring it. So the purpose of the guarantor, providing guarantor to the creditor, is actually kafala is actually providing guarantorship. Providing guarantee is actually the purpose. But the moment that he gave the guarantee, then the effect is to enable the creditor to claim his debt either from the principal debtor or the guarantor. You know, the bank can claim the debt if in case the one who did not pay, who's supposed to pay, if he didn't pay, the bank will come back to you because you are the one who actually give the guarantee. So they can collect from you, right? So this is what the effect. The parties are at liberty whether or not to enter into a certain permissible contract. You have all the liberty, whether you want to do it or not, it's up to you. No one is actually forcing you to do certain, no one can actually force anyone to do any contract. You are at liberty. However, once they have concluded certain transaction, any small transaction or big transaction, the contract, they are automatically entitled to its purpose and effect. The effect and purpose, it's not there, but the moment you finish your contract, it's completely there. Any condition that would change the purpose and effect of contract is not acceptable. See, this is where you need to understand, can I make a condition? When we talk about condition, you know, certain, this is all we are talking about outside three pillars. Inside the three pillars, we didn't talk about the condition. But here we are talking about the condition. So that's why there are certain conditions in business, in transaction, it is actually possible. Certain contracts, certain conditions possible. But if any condition is actually changing the purpose and effect, it is not acceptable. Right? I'll give you an example. For example, you know, I said, okay, I can give you this phone. I'm ready to sell my phone to you for 1,000 ringgit. You have to pay me the money now. But one condition, the condition is you have to sell the same thing to me after 1 week. So this condition is actually spoiling the effect. Because we just now talked about the effect, right? The effect is what? You will become the owner of my phone. So when you are becoming the owner of my phone, because after I take 1,000 ringgit from you, you become the owner of my phone. It is up to you whether you want to sell it to me or you want to sell it to someone or you want to keep it. It is up to you. You are at your liberty. No one can force you. But but before the sale, I'm giving you the condition. Okay, the condition is I sell you now for 1,000 ringgit, but you have to sell me back after 1 week, which means that I'm bringing this condition. When I bring this condition, it's spoiling the effect. Am I right? It is spoiling the effect. The effect is actually you are becoming the owner. So similarly, when it goes to ijara, when it goes to kafala, similarly, for example, in ijara, I cannot say that, okay, I'm ready to give you my house for 1,000 ringgit, but with one condition. What condition? You can stay in my house. I give you for renting, but with one condition. The condition is I also will be staying with you. right? So the condition is I also will be staying with you. So now what is the purpose? Because the effect must be transferring the ownership over usufruct. What if the property owner still wants to stay there, which means that the transferring the ownership is not happening. So it's spoiling the effect. So those conditions is not possible. It is not acceptable, right? Okay. Here we are talking of, yes, go ahead. Yes, Ramadan, you have questions?
Sir, me.
Yes, Leon, yeah.
Sir, so like what you said just now is like if something if I already rent a house, but the owner of the house still want to stay with me together. So in this condition, I have the option, or we can say that this type of the contract is directly not acceptable.
Yes, correct, yeah. Because it is spoiling the effect, right? So that's why
Yes.
we need to understand for every single transaction, there is a purpose and there is an effect. So now I want you to classify this. I want to go further and then classify what kind of contract so far we have. All right.
Okay.
So now let us go and see how many types of contract that we have. And to do that, I'm going to the last slide of this. Okay, here. Classification based on the purpose and effect. So this one is actually going to help you for your assessment. So this classification based on their objective of effect, objectives mean purpose, of course, and the objectives means it's another word for purposes, don't get confused. Based on their purpose and effect, contracts are divided into 7 categories. There are 7 categories of contract. The first one is uqud tamlikat, which means acquiring ownership. For example, anything that you do contract of sale, rent, gift, waqf, whatever it is all acquiring ownership. All right. So now these are the contracts that are concluded for the purpose of obtaining ownership over a thing and in usufruct. So it's clear, yeah. Uqud tamlikat is most of the time what people do. The next one is uqud al-isqatat. This is waiving the rights. These contracts used for the purpose of waiving the right. For example, creditor may release his debtor from the debt or waive his right to demand the loan. For example, there is a student loan and the government want to waive this. Or maybe you said, okay, my friend took a 1,000 ringgit from you. For example, I said, okay, you took 1,000 ringgit from me, and then after 3 months, I said, it's okay, you don't have to pay me back. This is called waiving the rights. This is what another example. Number 3, we have authorization, another set of contract. The authorization, uqud al-itlaqat. These contract used for the purpose of authorization, for example, contract of guardianship or agency. So there are so many, contract related to the agency, right? This is also, for example, you made a contract with an expert saying that, okay, if you are selling my house, like for example, you are the promoter and you are the marketer, you are the analyst. So now I have the property and I say, okay, you sell my property on my behalf so that I will give you certain commissions. All these kind of things will come under authorization. There are so many things you need to think about. I'm just giving you this example, only few examples, but I want you to bring so many examples according to these numbers. Yeah. So this is number 3. Then number 4, imposing restraints, uqud al-taqidat. I think perhaps you please can you please screenshot this page, all of you screenshot it, and then also the next page, because this slide is going to help for your assessment, but this slide is not actually part of this class. This chapter, it is not part of this chapter. This slide will come under the chapter called conditions of contract, which will come in future later. So I just brought this here for you to give you some help so that you can do your assessment. So what I mean by that, you take this screenshot so that you can use it when you are Because when you go back to the slide from Italim, you will not get this particular slide in Italim. That's why I give you here. Please also share this as a screenshot in the WhatsApp group, so that other people who are not in the classroom, they can also use it. So this is the first screenshot. This is the second one. All right, only these two. Okay. Number 4 is what? Imposing restraints. These are contracts whereby a person could be prevented from exercising certain rights. Yeah, for example, insane, minor, bankrupt persons could be prevented from dealing with their properties. So this is what we called, you know, the things that we earlier we talked about, the obstacles. These things will come under this imposing restraints. Yeah, and then we have providing security is another kind of contract. Uqud tawthiqat. These contracts are intended for the security purpose. For example, just now I told you about guarantee, right? I want to become the guarantor. It comes under kafala. Or maybe, for example, a rahnu. You have the rahnu contract, right? The bank having it. It is called a pledge. Also hawala, money transferring, kind of contract. This all comes under providing security. Number 6 is actually quite famous. It is called partnership contract. For example, musharaka, mudaraba, the partnership. All this will come under number 6. Then you have number 7. Number 7 is something actually everybody do. Every time you have the bank account, you are actually having the safekeeping property. We called it wadi'ah account. If you look into your Bank Islam or Bank Muamalat, your saving account, they call it wadi'ah. Wadi'ah. The last word, wadi'ah. These contracts are meant for the protection and safekeeping of properties, such as the contract of wadi'ah. So they are safekeeping your account, your money in there, and then they also pay you some certain amount of faida. The faida for that account. I think you will be receiving a small token of appreciation like every month. It's not riba, it's fawaid, faida. Yeah, it's a benefit. So this is actually what we call uqud al-hifz. So now you already learned 7 types of classifications. Yeah, uqud tamlikat, most of the time acquiring ownership. This is the purpose, the acquiring ownership. The next one is waiving the rights. Then you have authorization. Then you have imposing restraints. Then you have providing security. Then you have partnership. And then you have the safekeeping property. So right now you learn there are 7 types of purposes for so many other kind of transactions. Okay, so and then the effect will follow the purposes. Yeah, so you understood this one right now. So now I want you to go back to Italim. So let's go to Italim. Okay, you can open your own Italim and then open the page of the assessment. Okay, I will also share with you. Okay, we go to individual project paper in PDF. All right. Can you see my screen? So this is the, yes, this is the individual paper. Okay, look here, page number 1. So you are going to do 2 pages of an assessment. This is what we call individual project. Just 2 pages only. In the first page, A, choose one of the following classifications. I already gave you whatever that I taught you just now. I have given you the entire instructions here. Whatever just now I taught you, the text is already here. Choose one of the following classification of purpose and effect. Create a contemporary example for the advertisement. All right, this is A. You have to choose one of them. 1 to 7, choose one of them. And then bring a contemporary example, not the old example. You need to find, there are so many contracts available, right now. There are so many trends of contracts available. You need to choose according to the number 7. According to the 7, you need to choose the contemporary example. Then number B is draw by hand. Most probably I will prefer that if you draw by hand. If you cannot do by hand, then go to design in PC. Draw an imaginary one-page magazine advertisement like this. Magazine advertisement based on your selection above. Remember, you have to be creative. If you do that transfer image, for example, you do the hand by hand, you draw by hand, then you can actually take the picture and then transfer to MS Word. All right. Or if you do any PC, you want to use any designs, you can use it. Later, you will transfer to Word document, like this one, for example. All right. So this is how it has to be nicely. You have to have the product. If you are selling something, you have to have a product. If it is service, your picture is like advertisement today, right? People do advertisement, lot of advertisement. You have so many examples of the images, advertisements, you know, the taglines, so many things, the descriptions of what you are selling. If there is more information, then it is better. That's why it has to be, you have to be creative enough to do this. These are some examples that I'm giving you. This one, like this is for General Motors, and this one for telephone bell system, the old one, for example. This is the old car Mercury that they've been selling, you know, so many nice photos and all. So this is what you're gonna do in the first page. You will tell me what kind of advertisement, what kind of classification you chose, write it down, and then draw. Make sure all kind of descriptions are there. This is what you want to sell. In this page, make sure, I didn't want you to copy ad from someone. No, I want you to create your own ad, which means if the company name is there, your name must be there. For example, if Ramadan is doing this assessment, I want to see Ramadan product or Ramadan fridge. If it is Leon services. If it is Fatima cosmetics. Right? So your name must be there, because you don't have to take some, for example, you cannot take some contemporary product name. We may have the copyright issues, so we don't want to go through the copyright issues. So I want you to create your own company, your own name, and then make sure that your name must exist all over the product. It has to be there everywhere. If you are offering services, let's say Afiq is offering services, so Afiq scheme number 1, Afiq scheme number 2, Afiq scheme number 3. So these are the, so your name must be there everywhere. You can use your real name. All right, you can use your real name. That's very important. Yeah. Okay. This is number 1, page number 1. In the page number 2, you are going to answer a few things. In the first paragraph, explain in one paragraph what is it all about. You need to tell what is it actually you are selling, what is it actually you are promoting, what is it actually you are advertising. All right. Tell us what is your review of the advertisement or the product based on the principles of exchanging counter values with mutual benefit. So you are going to, tell us. First paragraph, you are going to tell us what is it all about. All right, what is it actually you are selling, you are promoting. In the second paragraph, make sure that you follow the principle of purpose and effect, the principle of exchanging counter values. You need to explain to me in the second paragraph the argument of the purpose and effect here. So in the first paragraph, talk about everything that your advertisement all about. In the second paragraph, you discuss what kind of purpose and effect you have in this. So you prove that this is what I want my customers to have it. So it's like you are going to have in future, inshallah, if you are having your own company, I want you to get the training from here, because you need to be transparent of what you are selling, and you need to understand what kind of purpose you are bringing in your sale, and then what kind of effect it might happen after you finish the sale. So I want you to bring with example on your own example with your own advertisement. So that's why all about this advertisement. Okay. Okay. Any questions?
So
Yes.
so if I use the theory, it's like the waving, right? So
Mhm.
if I use this as my objective, so
Mhm.
later on I need to provide the example, like if the customer don't want to pay me back the money, I
Mm.
will accept it. Am I right? If I use this concept,
Mm.
am
Look,
I right?
you can be creative, because that's why I want you to go and search for the modern way of doing this business. So if you have difficulty in finding waiving the rights, okay, then go for other six. You have seven options, right?
Okay.
Whatever the options is quite good for you, quite relevant to your interest, choose among the seven. You don't have to stick with one.
But must related among
Mm.
the seven objective, right?
Not necessarily all seven must be there. I told you choose one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Choose one of
Okay.
the following. Okay. Choose one of the following, and then make sure that in your advertisement, okay, in the first page, you will make sure that the advertisement is crystal clear, good. What you are selling, what customer will get. Your picture should speak about it. But in the second page, you will write it down. You will write two paragraphs. The first paragraph will talk about all about your advertisement. The second paragraph bring the argument of the purpose and effect. Okay, for example, I'm telling you here, not necessarily you have to be the good guy. You can also be the bad guy. This is another way I give you to make it interesting. Okay, what I'm saying, you bring you can also bring some for example, you can also bring some cosmetic, for example, yeah, cosmetic advertisement. In advertisement they will tell that, okay, you use these cosmetics, within 7 days you become fair. People say that, right? For example, the shampoo, they say, okay, you use this product, your hair will be glowing, for example. I want you to even to play the bad guy, not necessarily only the good guy. You can also play bad guy. For example, you said that, okay, this is the picture of it. This is how people do. So you are representing that, okay, this is the picture of this. This is how they do. But in the second page is most important. In the second page, you criticize yourself. In the second page, you say, okay, this shampoo is not going to be glowing. So the purpose is actually not the right thing. The effect also is not going to happen to the people. The people who receive the product, they are not going to glow their hair. Also, the cosmetic is not going to change their color, the skin. So this is a kind of cheating kind of things. You can also become the bad guy, but in the second page you criticize your own advertisement. I like that kind of things. So I give you option here to play the good guy and also the bad guy. So this is how you will make interesting. You can make this advertisement very interesting, because you need to know this. The reason that I'm bringing this advertisement to you, to understand the current market. Whatever the drinks that they are selling, they call it minerals and vitamins and proteins, but at the end of the day, it's just sugar. Right? You agree with me, right? There are so many products that actually they are bringing the celebrity to sell, but the own celebrity is not actually using that product, right? So there are so many tobacco, for example, tobacco advertisements, the alcohol advertisements, the wines and everything. But it looks like that he's very healthy when he is drinking. But the reality is, when you start drinking, you won't become healthy. You will become sick. Your lungs will go away from you. So see, this is all actually I want you to understand. That's why we are talking here about purpose and effect. Today, the advertisement market, are they really standing on this? Today, the advertisement industry, are they really going behind the purpose and effect? Or is there some of them actually just tricking you? Sometimes they want to promote something, but they want to also hide something. So this is happening today. I just want you to, open your eyes and see. Like most of the, for example, the most of the carbonated drink. Carbonated drink, they shows that, you drink and you become happy. No, you drink, you keep on drinking, you become obese because of the sugar level, contain the sugar level. So there are also the bad effect of this advertisement. I want you to understand it. I want you to also play the bad
So
guy. Yes.
just now you mentioned that we can become a bad guy, so we
Yes.
can sell the prohibited thing.
You can
Okay,
sell the prohibited things, but in your second page, you have to be criticizing it.
Oh, okay, understood.
Okay, yes, very good. Yeah, okay. So please go ahead. This advertisement is a fun advertisement. This assessment is actually fun assessment. This is just for you to enjoy the assessment. So you have the great holiday. So inshallah, hopefully you will be enjoying it. So so that's all from me. So inshallah, if there is anything you can ask, any questions, if you have anything you want to know. Ramadan, your hand is still up. Are you there? You have questions?
Okay. I'm sorry, sir. I
It's all
put it
right. It's
down.
all right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from you before we
Uh,
leave?
Sir,
Yes. Yes,
I have a
Afif.
question.
Yes.
Sir, if I want to make the contract about relating to the bodyguard, is it also acceptable for
Of
open
course. Of course. It might come under security, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. There are so many. Don't just. You are right. This is a very good example, Afik. You don't have to only think about the product. Don't only think about the product. Think about services. Yeah. Think about tourism, for example. Think about someone is promoting to go to the moon. Right? So now they are booking the ticket to go to the moon, or maybe someone is booking the ticket to go to the Mars. So think about that way. Think. You are free. You are free to think. You can bring any kind of advertisement. But I just want you to, in the second page, I just want you to understand and then criticize. If you agree with the advertisement, you go for it. So you support your advertisement. If you are not accepting, if you are disagreeing your advertisement, then it's okay. You just go to the second page and then you criticize your own advertisement, whereby you are truly bringing the contribution. You are truly bringing the response. So this is also academic. In academic, we have to talk about good and bad equally. We have to talk about it so that we can make people aware. So this is a kind of awareing campaign, yeah. And also it is, I give you free method, free style, whatever that you are willing to do, just do it. At the end of the semester, I will be compiling your good artwork, because I want you to be creative. So at the end of the semester, I will be collecting this, inshallah, and then I will be publish it in YouTube. So your pictures will be upcoming. All right, so please be creative. And also from me, it is also Ramadan al Mubarak. And then again, I have to give you the advance happy Eid Mubarak, Salamat Hari Raya, Maaf Zahir dan Batin, fi kulli aam wa antum bi khair. So I wish you all the best. I hope inshallah some of you might stay away from the family, but alhamdulillah, I think most of you will go back to your family and inshallah spend your Raya gatherings and all. And please convey my greetings to your family as well. Okay, Jazakumullahu khair jaza. Thank you very much. Inshallah, I will see you next week Wednesday, not coming Wednesday, next week Wednesday, inshallah. Okay, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, sir.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you very much.
Selamat Hari Raya, sir.
Thank you, sir. Selamat Hari Raya.
Thank you so much.
Selamat Hari Raya, sir.
Thank you. You too. Wa iyyakum. Thank you so much.